First story. Wife withdrew from our marriage while hiding a new relationship. Thoughts or advice appreciated. My 39M wife, 37F, have been going through something that I'd love some outside thoughts on. We've been married for 9 years, together for 12, with 2 girls under 5. We have a great marriage, love parenting together, and have built a really sweet life together. Up until recently, neither of us had ever had a reason to think our marriage wouldn't last. Since we've been together, we've both enjoyed talking about ethical non-monogamy, and appreciated and accepted that we're both flirty people who enjoy having friendships with the opposite sex. I've had a couple flirty friendships in the past, but I've always told my wife about them, and was clear that it was just someone who was a friend, but with an added element of fun banter and occasionally flirty behavior. But both these women were married and had families, and there was never going to be anything more than what could only be described as not quite platonic friendship. Now, since my wife had 2 children in the past 4 years, our sex life has understandably taken a bit of a backseat on everything else going on in our lives. However, now that the girls are both a bit older, things hadn't really recovered, and we'd have sex once a month at most. She just wasn't that interested. It never felt fun. It always felt like a chore. I found that she would only initiate when I was asleep. She would rouse me enough to get started, and we'd be intimate. I told her a few times this felt a bit like she wasn't interested in me, but was just needing a hand in the night. When I would try to open a dialogue about how much I wanted to work on us rekindling the fire and having a fun, passionate, mutually satisfying sex life, she would often get resentful, defensive, or make negative comments about me and use those things as an excuse to withdraw further. My wife has recently started playing a sport again, one she loves a lot and is very good at. She has been playing 2 or 3 nights a week for a year, and has been having fun meeting new people and being active, and it's great. I see it lifting her spirits and giving her something to be excited about that's not just being at work, or a mom, or a wife. 3 months ago, she let me know she'd found someone in her sports league that is fun to flirt with. I said, great, that's so fun. Enjoy it. She let me know he's a bit younger, but I said whatever, that's hot, go team. Last month I noticed her behavior had started to change. We were in bed one night and I asked her if she'd read any literotica lately, something she likes to do when she's feeling horny. I genuinely love hearing about what she finds hot, so when she said yes, I asked what kind. Immediately she shut down and got defensive and said I was praying. This felt super off, but I let it go. But a week later, I was thinking about it and just couldn't shake the feeling that she was being cagey. So I looked in her phone history and found that she'd been up one night after a sports night, lying in bed next to me while I was asleep, looking at porn and reading a specific literotica called A Younger Man. I read this story, though maybe I shouldn't have, and it was as if she wrote it herself about her exact situation: 40-year-old woman seducing a much younger man after working out together. Well, great. So I asked her about it again, and she said, oh, I done know, the story was probably something about a vicar or cowboy or something. So I showed her the story and asked why she was lying about it. She said she was embarrassed, but it wasn't a big deal. She didn't really like him, and it wasn't something to worry about. Well, of course I was like, you lied, what else are you hiding? So I checked her phone again, and found she'd been up Googling how to stop obsessing about someone, and days later, what does it mean when a crush doesn't text back right away? There were a few other details on her phone that she'd been dishonest about, like several late-night text message conversations with the guy, who we'll call the boy. Turns out he's 24. Texts at midnight asking if he wants to be her running partner, talking about work and sports league and things like that. Nothing constituting a reciprocal affection. His behavior was pretty normal, but from her side it seemed sneaky and like more than a casual crush and flirty friend. It seemed to be sexual fantasies, and an obsessive crush or infatuation. Before stuff with the boy had been developing, I had been asking her if we could celebrate our anniversary, do something just the two of us somewhere and leave the kids with the grandparents. She insisted we didn't have money to do that, but that she wanted us to go to a nearby city to see friends for a beach day, a couple days after our anniversary. Then stay on a friend's couch together that night to save money. I continued to let her know that okay, we can do that, but I do want to make sure we celebrate in some way. It's important to me. A week before our anniversary, I confronted her about her behavior with the boy, and how it seemed like she was being dishonest about how much she liked him and how she was behaving with him. To me, it seemed like she wanted to grow the beginnings of a new relationship in secret. Thinking about him sexually and texting late at night and trying to make one-on-one plans with him, all without being honest with me about it. I responded incredibly well, I think. I let her know I was hurt that she had crossed boundaries with him and that she hadn't trusted me enough to share with me what was going on. I reiterated that it was important for me that we celebrate our anniversary, but she did not alter our plans at all. I let her know that in order for me to start trusting her again, I felt it was appropriate for her to have a conversation with the boy. If she really did want to have a casual flirty relationship, that was cool with me. But I believe it's important to be upfront with people in order to be honest and respectful to our partners, and not to put people in a position where it feels like they are supporting infidelity. I had told my previous flirty friends that my wife knew we flirted, and that it was a situation we were both on board with, particularly since it won't ever be more than that. So I encouraged her to have that same conversation with the boy. I told her I'd prefer her to do that sooner rather than later, and she said the only day that would work would be the morning of our anniversary. So she took him for a walk around the lake and let him know that we were discreetly open, and asked if he'd want to go on a date. He was surprised and said he didn't think that was what she was interested in, and that he would prefer to be friends for now. He was polite and respectful and made a comment that he assumed she was happily married. She did not correct him on that, but whatever, she probably felt super awkward. Anyways, she returns home and I've prepared the cutest scavenger hunt for her, with thoughtful gifts hidden around the house and legit tricky clues to find them. I timed it perfectly so she'd be on the last clue at about noon. And the last clue was something like, "Oh, you can't find it, it'll find you at noon." And right on cue she got a flower delivery. It was adorable and cute and fun. We spent the day after that doing not much. She was happy to sit around while the kids played. Eventually I asked her, "Not even a card, hey?" And she sheepishly said no. She then spent the evening on her phone while watching TV. The next day, the events of the past few weeks really killed me. She'd been dishonest about how she felt about boy, dishonest when I asked her about it. And if I hadn't found out about it, it would be progressing currently. Or at least she'd be still investing in it behind my back. At the same time, she was actively withdrawing from me despite my spoken intention and need for us to celebrate our marriage and make time to be together. I asked her to stay at her sister's for a night, and she did. I thought a lot and had a pity party and took care of our daughters. She came home and was apologetic, but also stating she didn't do anything wrong except that she didn't tell me. I reminded her that we'd always said we'd be upfront with each other and make sure both were on board, and that how far she'd let herself get into it in her head was a bit further more serious than we'd ever said before. Additionally, doing all that in the context of actively withdrawing from that part of our marriage just made it sting even more. I told her I needed her to work at earning my trust and working on our relationship. I bought a book for me and one for her. I signed us up for counseling, and I tried very hard to be fun and engaging and loving for the week after she came home, but I was still pretty sad and hurt a lot of the time. Partway through the week I checked her phone and noticed she'd deleted her browsing history. I asked why and she said because she thought it wasn't helping us move forward, and I let her know that it looked like a super shady, sneaky thing to do. She acknowledged that and offered to retrieve her history from a different but connected device. Okay, I get what she's saying, but Mom, think about how it looks to me. So here we are today, our counseling appointment in 1 hour. I'm positive we can get through it, be stronger in the future. I'm just so sad she needed to do these two kind of shitty things before realizing, hey, if we both tried to reignite the flame, we'd find that we both definitely want that. And it's actually so fun and easy to do that. We've had a great sex life recently. She's been committed to being off her phone when we hang out, and it's been more fun. But I'm still sad frequently underneath it all. I still feel a bit lied to. And a bit like how she's behaving now is performative, since both the issue with the boy and the anniversary were things that could have been so easily avoided by just talking and listening. I don't really know what I'm looking for. I guess I wonder if I'm blowing things out of proportion? Was it even an emotional affair if the boy wasn't even reciprocating that much, and it was just her giving him a ton of space in her head? Am I right to feel betrayed, lied to, and taken for granted? How long far would things have gone if I hadn't found out? I keep asking myself. If I had let the anniversary thing slide, how long would she have let her marital intimacy fade while looking elsewhere? I feel like I've handled it really well and put us squarely on track to heal and recover, but I don't know. Tell me how to feel. Second story. Fiancé 38F, of 2 years emotionally cheated on me, 30M. I'm 30M, in a bit of a pickle about what to do right now. The situation. Fiancé 38F, left to go to a festival for a long weekend. She's a DJ and at the airport met a steaming team. 2 girls and 1 guy who agreed to shoot a movie for her documenting her journey and her travels. They spent pretty much all weekend together creating this movie and spending time at the festival. This was 3 weeks ago. When I called while she was at the festival, I expressed worry and concern over this, and how I didn't like the fact that she'd invited this random guy to join her on this trip. She asked me if the reason I felt like this was because she is a woman, and I said yes. She confirmed to me that I didn't have to worry about anything and that nothing would happen. I gave her the benefit of the doubt and accepted what she said to me. Fast forward 3 weeks, I still had doubts about this and had a gut feeling and made the choice to read their messages when she was not around. On one of the nights of the festival, she chose to sleep in a hotel and sent him quite a saucy photo of herself, with a text message saying, "Unfortunately, I cannot kiss you." He responded to that photograph and that message with a hot panting emoji and a message saying "Space baby" in her space cabin. She told me that the day after, she had expressed to him that she didn't want to cause harm to me or our relationship. Then he rejected her advances. She respected this and they agreed to remain friends. I also messaged him just to clarify the situation, and he confirmed that he never made her feel like anything could happen between them. Despite this, they still kept in contact, her sending him selfies of what she was doing, planning to meet up, taking pictures together, traveling together for the entire weekend, albeit this time the friend boundary being clear. While this brings me some relief, I still feel betrayed and so much mistrust between us. Minus that small message exchange, I do not believe anything else happened. I just feel like she must have felt comfortable to send him that message and that photograph, and that is what I find painful and hurtful to think about. What makes it harder was the fact that I had given her the opportunity to be truthful about this, and she still chose to hide this part of their trip together, and I had to find it out myself. That my fiancé of 2 years would give another guy the satisfaction or level of comfort to make advancements on her like that. She told me that the reason she responded to those messages in the way that she did was because it felt good to have validation, and she was excited from it and from being at that festival. I'm going to therapy this week, and next week, we are going to our first joint couples session. However, I am completely numb and find it difficult to move on from this and unsure of what to do. She wants to prove to me that I can trust her again, but I don't know how to help her with this either. She remained strong about her commitment to me and our relationship together and asks me for compassion and understanding. I wanted to reach out to this channel to ask, in this situation, please feel free to play the devil's advocate in this. We have a nice relationship that we have been building and growing, and we also live together. It is difficult to know what to do in this situation. Fiancé of 2 years emotionally cheated and was dishonest with me. Not sure what to do because we live together. Third story. Wife was cheating on me over our short 2-year marriage. I'm male 31 and my ex-wife is 37. We got married 2 years ago, and I used my stepmom's inheritance to pay for the wedding and most of our belongings. Last Christmas, as we were playing Happy Family, Mom had made a photo album of a wedding, etc. I flew back home while she stayed with family for a few days before coming back. I found out she was trying to sleep with one of her old flames. Premeditated, trying to arrange multiple times to meet up. Looking at hotels and Airbnbs, even going as far as saying stuff like get plan B so you can come in me. Even though we were trying to be careful to not fall pregnant as she came off birth control. They started talking 9 months after our marriage, and she was talking to him during our anniversary. We had a massive argument, and she said she would never do it again and couldn't lose me 1 month later. After my dad and sister flew down for a week while we both were achingly like nothing was wrong, I found out she was still talking to him, saying stuff like, "You just love the fact I can't stop doing what you tell me to do even though I should have." She then started talking about opening the marriage or having BBG threesomes 4 months later. After trying everything to fix things, she started hiding a new 19-YO friend from the gym's messages. They had been on a few coffee dates, etc., and was just being sneaky, hiding her phone, deleting messages, etc. I said I didn't feel comfortable with it all, but also not trying to stop her from having friends, but she didn't respect it and gaslit me to her friends and family, saying I was controlling. 2 weeks ago, we had a massive fight. I told her that if she didn't want to work on us, she could pack her stuff and leave. She did. I obviously said some nasty stuff during our last fight. Due to everything, I'm not proud, but I also don't regret it. Telling her friends and family, I kicked her out, but also filling for an Ivo, calling the cops on me and calling me abusive. She then proceeded to steal my cat and is now using as blackmail for some of my stuff. And also re-added her old flame 3 days after our split. She is now on every dating app and just being really promiscuous. She is now being an asshole and not coming to collect the rest of her stuff. I'm hurt and lost. I sacrificed myself for this woman. Now I'm alone in an empty house. Fourth story. Need advice. I'm 46M. Been married to wife 46F for 12 years. We have 3 daughters, 6, 8, and 12. And we're even trying for another baby last year, but it didn't happen for us. But I found out she's been cheating on me with her friend from college. I don't know for how long. She didn't answer questions, but they reconnected after college at the gym a decade ago. And from what I could find from her phone's social media, it has been going on a few years, maybe longer. After I found out, she told me she didn't care for him. He was just a friend. There was nothing going on. I should trust her. She's a good wife and said sorry, asked for my forgiveness. But in the messages, she told him she loves him and kept talking about how their sex was great. She told him she felt closer with him than ever with me. We started fighting a lot, but I also wanted to make things work because of our children. We tried to fix things, had more sex, more date nights, traveled more. She said she went no contact with him, but then I found out she was secretly messaging him again. I got very upset again. That same day, she moved out and started a new lease in the same apartment building. She continued to come home to help with the kids, for dinner and bedtimes, housework, doing dishes, etc. She's a great mother, and even now, my daughters adore her. She didn't go one day without having dinner with the girls and helping with homework and taking them to swimming games and practices. Even though she lived away, we didn't tell any of our friends and family, and we went to parties and play dates and acted normal. We also didn't tell the girls, they just know we are having issues. We also continued having sex and she would tell me she loves me. We only stopped sex for about 2 weeks when she first moved upstairs. 2 months later, she moved back home and told me she cannot live without me. It was always me. Our family is most important and she couldn't imagine living a life away from me. I don't know why she moved out or moved back in, whether she tried to make it work with him and couldn't so she came back. She's again got no contact with him, and this I believe because she has given me all social media access, Facebook, emails, and her phone passwords. She doesn't use her phone much anymore so don't think they're in touch, and we spend the day together so I know she's not seeing him. We both work from home. She also just works out in our building gym, so she isn't going to the same gym as him. We stopped going to church where he used to attend. She said she's taken all steps to not see him anymore, but I don't know if she still loves him or if he's over her. Did she mean it when she told him she loves him and their sex is great and she feels closer to him than me? Or was she just saying that to make him believe that? I don't know if she came back because she loves me or because of our kids or because he didn't want her. My heart and family are broken. I don't trust or respect her anymore, but I also cannot leave her because of our kids. Is there hope for us? Will we be able to get to a place where we can move on? Will she leave me again for him? I don't think I'll ever trust or respect her again, just cannot see her the same way again.